Happy Wednesday, everybody. I hope you can hear us. We will see you at the craft table shortly. All right, Mr. InStitches, we can go to the craft table. Sounds like they can hear us. It is Wednesday. Thank you all for dropping by the craft room. It is day 3 of our shell stitch market bag live crochet along. I finished off yesterday at row 12, 13, well, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. I finished row 16. Really? 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Yeah, I finished row 16. Huh. Okay. Every time I look at this, I swear it's something different. Or did I do this? No. 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. It's row 15. I finished row 15. I thought it was 15. And I've got about 5 more rows of the shell stitch to go before I get too close to the top of the bag. So I'm just going to jump right into that. As I mentioned yesterday, when you finish a row of shell stitch, you join with a slip stitch in the top of that chain 3 that begins the row, and then you want to make sure you slip stitch into the next stitch because that's the middle of the shell. We chain 3 counts as a double crochet, 2 more double crochet in the same place, that's your shell, and off you go, placing a shell in the middle of every shell from the previous row. That aside, I hope everybody had a chance to do a little catch up if you needed to, or maybe even you ran ahead. We've got the original tutorial linked down below, and if it's not there yet, it will be as soon as this live stream has finished. Already we're getting photographs at the Etsy shop of people's finished shell stitch market bags. Thank you guys so much for sharing your projects with us. I love to see them. And as soon as we have a couple more, we're going to do another little community photo post. So if it's okay to share your photos, we know not everybody wants their photos shared, but if it is okay to share your photos with everyone, please make sure you mention that in your little message to us. That way we know that it's okay to share. And we really appreciate that. Welcome to Wednesday at the craft table. I'm hoping to get almost all of the bag done today. Maybe not the straps, but we will see. I've still got to I'm not moving as quickly. I actually was fiddling with some acrylic yarn yesterday after the live stream, and I realized that holding 2 strands of acrylic yarn together and doing a similar concept of stitch, I can crochet a lot faster. So the cotton is while I like it for its strength and its durability and its washability, it is not quite as easy to crochet with as the acrylic is. And we are off. So I'm wondering how long, and I think the next live stream crochet along project we do is going to be a single strand of some sort. I think I want to take a break from the multi-strand projects for a little while. I really like them. I like how they look, but you got to give your hand a break. You got to change things up a little bit. Welcome to everybody who's just jumping in.
Some of our subscribers and members are feeling a little under the weather.
Oh, some folks feeling under the weather. That stinks. I hope you all feel better soon. A little crochet should fix that.
Keep the foghorn to a minimum.
Yeah, foghorn to a minimum. Cheryl says, speaking of yarn, would a cotton polyester blend held double with cotton work for this project? That's a very good question. I'd say a cotton blend held alongside a full cotton would be just fine, presuming, of course, that the cotton blend can wash the same as the 100% cotton. So I would give the labels of those 2 different yarns a quick once over just to make sure that they can both kind of be treated the same way, just so you know if you do wash them, you know, you're not going to have one yarn act differently in the washing / drying process than the other yarn, because you wouldn't want some sort of weird shrinking thing to happen. But yes, I would say absolutely you compare those together. Hi, Connie. Connie with a membership milestone. Enjoy and welcome. Hello. Thank you, Connie. Yeah, I hope everybody feels a little better or a lot better, I should say, soon. I am feeling under the weather stinks, especially in the spring. It is not, it's never nice to be sick, let's face it. But man, when the weather's starting to get nice and you don't feel so good, that's real. I just feel like that's a double bummer. Dawn thinks she's got a stomach bug. Oh, that stinks. That really stinks. Nobody wants to feel sick. All right, let's all think some positive thoughts. Let's all have a nice, make sure you have a nice big glass of water. I find that helps. Don't drink it too quickly though, because you don't want to upset your stomach. Let's focus on some happy crochet and we'll trick our brains into it.
Check the chat, Missy.
Oh, Nico is here and Nico has gifted a membership. Thank you, Nico. Let's see now. Who has won? Has anyone won it? Robin has won. Wonderful. Welcome back, Robin, to the family, and thank you, Nico. We've got some very cool spring weather where we are today. It's quite cool actually. We don't I don't really mind though. I it's too hot too quickly. I just can't do that quickly anymore. All right. Slowly moving around the bag here. I'm not sure that this little ball of holiday yarn, this Tinsley stuff, I'm not sure if this is going to last me the rest of the bag. So luckily I do have some more cotton. I kind of like how this is turning out. There's this slightly scrappy feel to it, but because I'm using the same purple cotton throughout the entire project, there's sort of a uniformity. So I think this is going to be a really neat looking bag. And it was a good way to use up some more of my cotton scraps too. I can hear Mr. InStitches typing away. I will just trying to really get my rhythm established here. Some days it's not as easy as others. Some days, you know, you feel like you start crocheting and you're already into your rhythm, and other days I feel like you need a little bit longer to warm up.
Can you share something with everyone for me?
Sure.
So some people struggle with their computer struggles to keep up with the video.
Okay.
So if you can just explain to them how you can click on the settings on the video while it's playing, and you can dial down the resolution.
Oh yeah, yeah, sure.
That might help.
Mr. InStitches would like me to share some tech info. So if you struggle, if your computer or device struggles to keep up with the stream, like there's a lot of buffering or delays, or it sort of wants to go pixelated or something on you, you can adjust the information basically coming into your device. And by information, I mean the amount of digital information that your system is trying to process while it's watching the video. All you have to do is tap or click on the video player as you're looking at it. You want to select, I think it's in the options area. There's a little options icon, and you want to select playback resolution. So you can change the resolution. So it might say auto, there might be a 1080 by 720. I don't know, all these different like pixelation by pixelations. You can pick 460. You can pick the smallest resolution because now it's going to make for a slightly blurrier visual stream, but it will not buffer. It won't have as much trouble processing the amount of information coming in. So that's one thing you can do. And it doesn't necessarily, you can always change it back. Like if you've got, if you don't have really great download speed on your internet, a lot of us who live rurally do not. So that's one way to kind of get around the whole buffering or having the pixelated image thing. I hope that helps. Mr. Stitches wanted me to mention that to everybody, because we do that sometimes if we can't sort of, if our system cannot handle the information coming in, just dial down the resolution on the actual video itself, and that helps. Welcome everybody who's popping in. I see Vima just arrived. Hi Vima. Everybody's sharing some get well soon concoctions. I love that. Ginger is a good one. Nice warm cup of honey lemon. I like that when I'm not feeling so great. Melissa's wondering about getting Mr. InStitches a microphone. We are thinking about it. It's just a matter of sort of connecting technical stuff and going out and kind of deciding which new technical thing we can afford to buy. We have a lot of things on our list of things that we kind of need, and they're all kind of jostling for the first priority position. I switched my hook up yesterday. So I went from my pretty little size 7 rainbow hook, which I really, really love. I love the feel of this. I love holding onto this wooden hook. I switched it up. I went from that one to this one yesterday because this one has a more pointed hook on it. And I thought that might help me kind of crochet a little bit quicker, given that the other broader hook wanted to grab the loops of all my yarn while I'm crocheting. And I'm also, this white yarn I'm using has a little bit of a ripple or a wiggle to it because of the tinsel that runs through it. It creates a kind of a rippling look, which also creates more tiny little sort of loopy bits that my hook wants to grab. So this does help a little bit, but I'm not moving as quickly as I kind of figured I would. I have water today. No coffee, no tea. Actually, have to admit, I just finished a cup of coffee before we got the stream going. And normally I like to have a cup of tea, but I thought, oh, that's enough. I think that was enough caffeine for the day. So I've got some water here with me. Nothing fancy though. I might.
He wants to know if we're going to do another video game stream.
Another, yes.
I think we will. We're just kind of trying to find some time.
Mr. InStitches says we will definitely be doing another video game and crochet stream. It's just that's something that we kind of fit in around our schedule. We get a lot. We have a lot to do some weekends, and we typically like to sit down and do a little gaming on the weekends. So yes, as soon as we have a little more time and we can fit one of those in, we'll definitely be doing more of those. Mr. InStitches has been looking into other cozy games that he might like to play with everybody. So we've got a little list of those. Yes, and he's happy to take suggestions. So if anybody knows of any cozy games, he should try.
Except from Jessica Rabbit, I'm not interested.
I'm not going to repeat that.
If we do, we're going to post to the community tab, family.
Yeah. If we do have another live stream of gaming and crochet on Mr. InStitches channel, we always kind of post a note to the family in the community tab, so that'll be there. If we do. If you are subscribed to Mr. InStitches channel, then you would also get a notification if we had a live stream going. Uh-huh. sip of water here. Maria asks, how many rows so far? Let me see. I think, gee, I just did this at the start. 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. I'm on row 17 so far. I've got this and 3 more rows of the shell stitch left to go. Incidentally, if you are making yourself one of these market bags, you can use the shell stitch part of the pattern for as many or as few rows as you want. So if you want it to be a slightly shorter bag, you can use fewer rows of the shell stitch. If you want it to be a little taller, a little deeper, you can use more rows of the shell stitch. So that is a flexible part of the pattern because it doesn't change the final 2 rows and it doesn't change the straps either. So it's up to you. You know, if you've got a slightly smaller bag shaping up just because of either your hook or the yarn you're using or even your tension, then you might want to do a couple extra rows of shell stitch, and you totally can. It won't change the pattern. And it's the same thing if you're using a big hook and maybe like your yarn's a little bit thicker, or maybe you've got a slightly looser tension.
Really good suggestions here from Jessica Rabbit and Summer.
About what?
We're chatting video.
Oh, you guys are talking about video games? Well, I'm talking about crochet, so there's like 2 shows going on here. There's the one where we're crocheting something, and then there's the Mr. and Stitches in the chat.
Crochet stuff. We're gonna talk about gaming over here.
Mr. and Stitches, if you've got a link to your channel handy, you can just sort of drop it in the chat, so anybody who wants to sort of subscribe or just pop over and see what he's got. Mr. and Stitches has also some kind of helpful tech videos. We were trying to kind of find a place to put some of those helpful videos on, you know, little things like how to change your avatar photo on YouTube, and you know, just places like where you can find certain things like you know, YouTube information. We wanted to put that somewhere else, and so we have several of those over on Mr. and Stitches channel. So you might find some of those kind of helpful. Mickey, a member for 28 months. Is this I'm going to guess you meant scrappy yarn project as opposed to a crappy yarn project? You could use crappy yarn for this, I suppose. I'm using cotton. I'm using my cotton scraps. So I didn't plan out the colors in a way, like I didn't go out and buy the colors for this project. I just kind of went to my cotton yarn stash, pulled out all of them, and realized that I had 2 balls of holiday cotton yarns that I wanted to use up. One is this variegated, it was a red, white, and green color. And I had another one that's all cotton that's got like a little bit of tinsel running through it. I've had them in the stash a long time. I decided I'm sick of looking at them. I wanted to use them up and make them useful. So I'm pairing them up with a giant ball of purple cotton that I had. And this is what's come out so far. So it's a definite scrap bag, and it's definitely a stash built. But I wouldn't say this was crappy yarn. So hello. Hi, Simona. Cinnamon's here. Hi, Cinnamon. I didn't change the size of my hook, Diane, but I did change I changed the actual hook. So this is still this is a 7mm. This is the one I started with, and as you can see, it's got a really deep hook on it and a kind of a blunt nose. But I found it was grabbing a lot of the loops, so I switched it up to this one, which is a full aluminum. And it's got a fairly decent depth of hook. It's not as deep as the other one, but more importantly, the actual hook itself is pointed. So I can be a lot more exacting where I slip the hook in and I'm not grabbing as many loops by accident. So that's what I switched up yesterday. And I'm just joining this row with a slip stitch. There we go. We need to do a poll, Mr. and Stitches.
I have one going.
Do you?
Yes, very important.
I see. Mr. and Stitches is conducting business in the chat that I am unaware of.
I have a very important poll going. Make sure everyone takes part.
Oh, Maureen says she had so much sugar and cream white leftovers, just enough to make the bag. Perfect. Yeah, using up your cotton scraps for a market bag is just the best way to make use of those cotton yarns, especially if you don't really know what else to do with them, or there's not enough left to do something really specific. You can just tie them all together into a magic ball and make yourself a market bag. And the nice thing about market bags is that they can really be any size. They can be big, they can be small. You know, a bag always has a use, as long as it can carry stuff.
Here's a good question from Abigail. What is the best way to change cotton yarn when you run out of a color?
So Abigail asks, what's the best way to change cotton yarn if you run out of a color? So if you mean just sort of tying in another ball into the project, it depends on the project. In a case like this, when I'm using multi-strands, I just hold both the strands. Like if I'm tying in a new ball, let's see if I can find an end here. Oh, this is a handy little mess. Oh, there we go. I would take, so there's say my old string, and here's my new string. I take the ends and I hold them together like parallel, and then I just tie a knot. So I would tie a knot and then tie it, like pull on it really, 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 really tightly. And then, you know, you just kind of continue crocheting, and then I would just work over top of the long tails or weave them in later. So that's the only way, that's the way I like to do it, because I find these knots don't come undone. Not all yarn works with the weaver knot. Not all yarn works with that Russian join where you kind of split the yarn and then weave the tail into the body of the other yarn. That works really well with grabby yarns like wool, because wool has natural little teeth in the fibers. So not all joins can work with all different yarns. So if I'm doing something that I know is going to do kind of carry a lot of weight or do sort of heavy duty work like a bag, I like to knot in my yarn. Like when I'm tying in a new ball of yarn, I like to actually knot it in using a knot that I know isn't going to want to come undone. So that's how I would do it. And that's how I did do it actually so far for this bag.
We have a membership gift.
A membership gift. Let me just quickly go back here. Hope. Thank you, Hope. Hope has gifted a membership, and Shanine has won it. Wonderful. Thank you, Hope, and welcome, Shanine. That is so fun. The purple color looks dark blue on the video. Yeah, I guess it depends. All colors will look a little bit different on our viewers, but of course I'm also mixing it alongside other colors, so that's probably going to change the way it looks too. It is quite purple looking over here. But I mean, I guess it could look kind of like a navy-ish blue, I suppose, depending on the lighting.
All right, I'm ending the poll. Keep your eyes on it.
All right, Mr. InStitches is finishing the poll. What is this project using? Scrappy yarn or crappy yarn? Thank you.
It wasn't my idea. Yeah, it was my idea.
Yeah, that was your idea. I can tell. We had a little question here. How do you keep the balls from becoming a mess as you work? Asks Mickey. Well, I lay them both to the side and I feed from the middle. So as the yarn comes out of the ball doesn't want to bounce all over the place. It just stays where I put it because I'm pulling from the inside. Same thing with this cake that I wound. I'm pulling the yarn from the middle so the cake doesn't move around. And then as I work, I only kind of, like you see me kind of smooth the yarns together. I pull out about a yard or a meter of each yarn in a pairing, so I pull on both of them, and I only have about a meter or so of it loose as I work, and so that way the balls they don't interact with each other, they don't move around, and the yarn doesn't tangle. It's a lot easier to keep your yarn from tangling if you pull it from the center.
Can we get a nice view of the side and the bottom?
The side and the bottom? Sure. Okay, so here's the bottom so far. It's folded in half. Let me just pull up on my loop. So the whole bottom part is solid half double crochet, and that's to create kind of a solid bottom. You're going to have less likely have things want to fall out. The pretty actual pattern work is the shell stitch, which sort of sits up top. but this is an oval base. So if I sit it, you can see how there's quite a lot of room in there for your groceries and whatnot. Nice solid oval base. Carol with the membership milestone. The whole project looks red, white, and blue on my monitor, and I really like that look. Yeah, a couple people were saying it had kind of a red, white, and blue look. That green tends to look kind of on the blue side. I really like the way it's coming together. For context, this is the other one I made. So this is the exact same project, same pattern, and it's been in use. And I used two completely different variegated yarns held together for this one. And this one, this bottom, one of the strands is variegated. The rest of it are just solid colors, but they do look very similar. I think that's kind of neat. There was purple in this one too. I love it. I love how these work out. This is such a nice sturdy bag. It's got like a nice bit of heft to it. All right, back to it. Let me get my Janine with a $10 super sticker. Thank you so much. Oh my gosh, I love that. It's a hippo on an office chair. Like, that's a gaming chair coming to a screeching halt. I love it. Thank you so much. I've got that little tangle, that little twist in the yarn wants to twist right around the purple yarn I'm using. So that's another reason I was happy to use up this white yarn with the little tinsel running through it. It's not the easiest stuff to use. So I'm happy to get it built into a bag where it's going to actually find some use. Still splitting my yarn every so often. Not moving as quick as I thought I was going to. I'm a little disappointed with myself. It is. It's the dual strand, and it's the fact that it's cotton. It does not want to smoothly slip through my fingers or work itself into stitches as quickly as the acrylic does. This is a little more grabby, a lot less sort of, it's not as easy to work with. But you know, there's pros and cons to everything. So cotton maybe isn't the easiest thing to work. Well, this cotton isn't. This is all Bernat Handicrafter. So it's the peaches and cream or the sugar and cream. It's just all the same stuff. I think it just gets sold under different brands. But it's kind of like, it's dishcloth style yarn. It's not super high quality cotton, but it's great for things like these bags because it washes really well, but it's not the easiest stuff to work with. It's like a little grabby, you know. So I don't know. That's the trade-off, I guess. It washes really well and it's sturdy, but it's not the easiest stuff to crochet with. Yeah, it's taking me like, what is it taking me about? Like,
we are just shy of 30, we're at 28 minutes.
And so what have I done? Like 2.5 rows? So that's how long it's taking me to do a row of this shell stitch using these two strands of cotton held together. So that's a lot slower than I normally crochet. Not that that matters,
but it looks amazing.
But it looks good. If you're just joining us and you're new and you want to catch up with the project or you want to speed ahead, we've got a full regular video tutorial on our shell stitch market bag. We'll make sure that's linked below and you can check that out and work ahead if you want to. This is the kind of project that if you're using, you know, yarn and you're in a comfortable kind of setup, you can make one of these bags in an evening if you're really motivated. Maybe over the course of a couple of evenings, if you're, you know, comfortably set up and you don't find you're using yarn that doesn't want to not flow nicely. I'm telling you, this twinkly cotton is just constantly twisting under my fingers. But yeah, you can work up these pretty quickly. It's a nice, and you can make them in different sizes, and it makes for a very nice gift. So even if you yourself don't need a bunch of Newmarket tote bags, there's always somebody who probably could use one. Hey, happy anniversary, Rianne. Cinnamon's making another mitered granny square blanket. I mean, it's such a pretty granny square, and making granny squares is so much fun. I love being able to just sort of turn my brain off. We do not have Facebook, Shan. We did long time ago. We had a Facebook account, but we lost access to it. Facebook kind of did this weird thing where they were like, you know, hey, do you recognize all these people? And we were like, well, I know this person and know this person. Okay, and now send us all your identification to, like, you know, a foreign country. We're like, no, I don't think so. So we couldn't reaccess the account, but that was years ago now. It's too bad.
Like 10 years.
Yeah, it was like 9 or 10 years ago. We do have an Instagram account, but to be perfectly honest, I'm like never there. I get in like once every 6 months.
Have a Twitter account if anyone wants to follow, but we also don't use that often.
Yeah, we have an Instagram account. We have a Twitter account, but we don't really get to them very often. I have a Pinterest account. Mostly I'm on YouTube and Etsy, and Pinterest. Those are sort of the main platforms that I like to hang out on. We have a lot going on, so when I finally do have some time, it's usually I'm ping ponging between all sort of those three platforms. Tanya asks, Jayda, how do you get inspiration for your calendar blankets? Oh, inspiration is everywhere. Mr. InStitches and I have a book of ideas. Oh my goodness. That was Deb. Thank you, Deb. Thank you for picking up a pattern in our Etsy shop, Deb. That reminds me, our market bag patterns are on sale all this week. So thank you so much, Deb. We have a little book of ideas that's just for our calendar blanket projects. We tend to plan them out sometimes a couple years in advance of actually launching them on the channel. For example, our Graftwork Fair Isle blanket, we've been working on that one for several years, kind of deciding how we were going to do it and the size and just all of it. So I don't know, we get ideas, we write them down, and then we, kind of go through them every so often with fresh eyes and decide which ones we like the best, and we kind of workshop them. So there's inspiration everywhere. I was having a conversation over the last couple days at the Etsy shop with Peggy about the Sunbonnet Sue. Does anybody know the Sunbonnet Sue, like those little quilt patterns? And I kind of went down a rabbit hole trying to figure out who came first, Sunbonnet Sue or Holly Hobby. And I didn't realize that Holly Hobby was a 1970s thing. I kind of thought Holly Hobby was like early 80s. But I'm an 80s kid, so anything I remember from my early childhood, I just assume kind of appeared in the 80s. But Holly Hobby was a 70s thing, and Sunbonnet Sue looks like it was kind of like the craft world's reaction to that. So I don't know. I was just so now I've been kind of going down that little rabbit hole. What do we got here? Nico. Thank you for gifting another membership. Christine has won it. Wonderful. See, everyone's sort of discussing social media. Yeah, social media it's I don't know, it's got its place. It's nice if you don't live near your family and you kind of want to almost like have like an open phone line going. That's kind of how I see social media. Oh, I don't live anywhere near my family, but I kind of want to know what they're up to at any given point in a day. So that would be handy. That's a handy use of social media. But if that's not really the world that you're in, then it's I don't know. There's so many different platforms now. It's like, what do you like? What are you into? Do you just want to scroll through photos all day? Do you want to know like what's happening? Do you just want to sit and watch nice videos? You know, do you want to watch how-to stuff? Like, we're so spoiled for choice and how we get to interact with the world at large and how we spend sort of our downtime. It's less and less likely that you're going to find everybody on the same platform now because there's just so many options. Woo! Lisa, thank you for picking up a pattern. Okay, Dawn, about the Holly Hobby doll. Was there actually a Holly Hobby doll? Oh my gosh.
Whoa!
Tracy, thank you.
Lisa and Tracy?
Lisa and Tracy, thank you both so much for picking up a pattern. I had Holly Hobby sheets. Bed sheets, and I thought they were so cute. And I've seen a lot of Holly Hobby like quilts and just things with the Holly Hobby print on it, like greeting cards and stuff. But I wasn't sure if there was actually a doll. So there was really a doll. Was it like a branded thing, or was it just sort of a doll that people made because it was a popular little character? I think that's so cute. Melissa says, "Hey Jada, how long does it take you to sew a blanket together?" Well, it depends on the size of the blanket. If it's a baby blanket, it takes a lot less time to stitch the module pieces together than, say, like a king size blanket. It also depends on the join. Like if I'm hand sewing it together or crocheting it together, that will also determine how quickly it comes together. I don't know. It's a good question. It doesn't take me very long to stitch together squares because it's usually a pretty easy thing. You're just sort of you know, basically running up the seams of the stitches. So if it's a basic granny square, you're just looking at those stitches and spaces as you go, boom, 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 pair them up. So I don't know. It just depends on the size of the blanket. That's probably the biggest indicator and which kind of join you're using. So if you're doing something a little more complicated, like a lattice join or um, maybe a join as you go, like a double crochet or a slip stitch or any of those kind of slightly more complicated joins, it might take you a little longer because you've got to pay closer attention to what you're doing. But not that long. I think it takes less time to join together a blanket than it does to actually make the individual pieces of it. I think she was just something to collect, but it's been a while since I was a kid, says Dawn. Oh, Shells, I'm pretty sure my sister had a Holly Hobby doll growing up. Yeah, wallpaper sheets, paper dolls, exactly, Hunter's Haven. There was a lot of I remember stuff around Holly Hobby. I know that even like Butterick and Simplicity had Holly Hobby like dress inspired patterns that you could buy. But I certainly didn't have a Holly Hobby doll. It seems to me that would make sense though. Everything kind of got turned into a toy in the 80s.
Vina has a question.
Vina has a question. Hey, Vina. Hey, Jada, have you ever got a chance to use yarn from India? How many countries' yarn have you tried so far? I would love to know. Oh, that's a good question.
I would say that some of the yarn we've bought has come from India. I think we've seen some.
Have we?
Yep.
We've
had some come from India. We've had it come from Turkey, China, Italy.
Yeah, that's a good
places in other countries in Europe. Canada.
Yeah, Mr. Stitches is better at this than I am. He's right. I've got yarn in my collection from Italy, from made here in Canada, from Turkey. I think Mr. Stitches seems to think that I've had a couple from India.
We have.
We've got some from China. Yeah. I guess like that's kind of the countries where you can kind of make yarn anywhere. I think I have some yarn that's made in England, like the wool from like say the Scottish wool mills. Vima, that's a really great question. I'd have to probably go through my collection and sort of look at the labels.
Here, this is from Deborah. Deborah says Holly Hobby doll came out in 19 1975, it was a rag doll.
Holly Hobby doll came out in 1975 and it was a rag doll. That makes sense because the Butterick Holly Hobby dress pattern I was looking at on Pinterest earlier today was a 1974 pattern. So I think like the doll may have come after all of the other stuff around it.
Yeah, so Tara says it was a book like stories and an illustrator from the 60s.
Okay.
So the actual toys probably came out later.
That makes sense. Okay, that's so cool. The writer and illustrator Denise Holly Hobby. Holly was a greeting card character but grew into a rag doll. Okay.
That makes sense.
That makes a lot of sense. Thank you. Gee, all you have to do is ask the chat and somebody knows something somewhere. That's so cool.
Michelle asks, have you guys ever done any traveling?
Michelle wonders if we've done any traveling. A little bit of traveling. Haven't done any traveling in a long time. Mostly because we couldn't for a few years. And things are still kind of bonkers. I think our federal employees are still on strike, the ones that like handle processing passports and stuff. So even if you wanted to update your passport, I think there's like a really long wait list now for that. So I don't know if we're going to get to do much traveling anytime soon. But we try to sort of do a little touring around our own country from now and again. But Canada is so gigantic. It's so annoyingly gigantic that you know, if you're like, oh, hey, you want to go on a road trip? Well, you can drive for like in Ontario, you can drive for 24 hours straight and not actually get out of the darn province. And there's all you're looking at is rocks and trees, rocks and trees, rocks and trees. Boring. I mean, it's pretty for the first 3 hours, but then you're like, okay, I've seen enough rocks and trees. So yeah, I think if you really want to take in a lot of Canada, you kind of have to fly. You need to be able to kind of get somewhere relatively quickly so that you can spend your time sort of seeing that area as opposed to getting there. But I don't know, we've done some other traveling in the past. I mean, I think we've been down to a couple places in the States. We've been to Italy. I've been to the UK a few times. I've got family in Wales. I've got family in Australia, although I've never been down there. That's on the bucket list. Sunbonnet Sue quilt was made by my grandmother in 1954. It was an old pattern even then. Susan, thanks for the information. So Sunbonnet Sue maybe predates Holly Hobby. This is what I'm trying to figure out. Which came first, the Sue or the Holly?
So we should, I mean, we've been kind of taking questions all.
Yeah. No, this is great. I love it.
Take a couple of questions about the project.
Yeah.
And, wrap it up.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, we can take a couple more questions and then kind of wrap it up. We try to go for about an hour. This is good for, you know, if there's a few reasons that I think this whole hour thing is great. One, it doesn't stress out your hands if you're, you know, kind of got to be careful about that. Two, if you don't have a lot of time to crochet, it's a nice little reminder to just, you know, hey, spend an hour crocheting, see what you can get done in an hour. It's more than you would get done if you didn't do any at all. So I like that. I also kind of like hearken to my days of having lunch hours and sort of sitting at lunch hour and doing my crochet. Sometimes that was the only time in a day I had the time to do any crochet at all. So I love the little hour stints with everybody. It's also kind of fun to see where I get. But we've got a little bit of time here, so let's see if there's anybody. My white yarn is now, of course, right at the end, has decided to try and knot itself up. Maybe I'll just.
Hey, we have a membership. Whoa!
Thank you, Poppy, and a re-welcome to Crafty Corner. Re-welcome to Crafty Corner to the family. Thank you, Crafty Corner.
That was Poppy.
That was Poppy, and Poppy just picked up a pattern in her Etsy shop. Thank you, Poppy. Trying to keep this white yarn from doing a big tangle on me. I will definitely be out of this yarn. I wonder if I can I can probably finish this row with it, and then I'll be tying in another ball, and I'm pretty sure I'm going to go with the red. I have more red cotton, and I think I like the idea of tying that red back in since I had some of it down here. And I'm just trying to work out why this decided to get all tangled up. This is really funny. Not sure why, but I'm going to clean that up. There we go. Come here, you little... Have you thought about making a boho crossbody bag? Yes, we have. We do have a boho crossbody bag. It's a round boho. I don't know if you've seen it. We have a purse. We have literally, we called it the boho purse. And I wear it crossbody, so that's how I built the strap for it. I do have a couple of other purse designs in the works because I just love bags. I actually made one yesterday, which I'm not going to show you. It's going to be a surprise, but I'm still kind of fiddling with some little aspects of it. But oh, I love bags. I especially love making purses this time of year because I love to have a new purse to kind of throw on when I run out the door. Such a fun little accessory. There we go. Oh, more information from Tara. While sunbonnet-clad little girls existed in Pulitzer back in the 1800s, yes, the class rose to folk fame in the year 1900 when Bertha Corbett Melcher published Sunbonnet Babies. Oh my gosh. So this is really old. I love it. Oh my God. I love this stuff. I absolutely love this stuff. And a backpack. Okay. Vivi wants a backpack. I've made one of those before too. We don't have a tutorial for it, but I have made a couple backpacks. Backpacks are, they're easy enough to crochet, but the trick is to make them sturdy so that they can carry stuff and the straps don't stretch out on you. And are you planning any vintage crochet projects? Kind of.
We have quite a few already.
Yeah, we have some vintage projects already on the channel. One, I think my favorite is the we did a soap, a dish soap bottle dress. So it's like a little apron to wear to put on your soap bottle if you keep one of those next to the kitchen sink. We do. I absolutely love that. It's so cute. But yeah, I have a couple of other little ideas. I love vintage crochet, but I also really enjoy being able to kind of modernize it because it's, you know, sometimes the old crochet patterns are cute, but they don't necessarily have a purpose anymore.
Do you remember what row you're on?
I can count. Let's see what row I'm on here. I am working on, so this is 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. I'm on row 20. So if I can finish this row, that will be it for the shell stitch. Yay! I'm going to finish the row today, guys. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to finish the row. Dawn says, what do you do to make straps so that they don't stretch? So far, I've found the best thing is to line them with fabric. I also find using the single crochet stitch because it's the smallest and the tightest stitch. Maybe also running a line of slip stitch down both sides. That helps it be tight and not want to stretch out. But if you really want to be sure, lining it with fabric is one of the best things you can do. Do you use multiple strands for thickness? Asks Angela. I'm using 2 strands for a couple reasons. One, it does give it strength. It does give it a little bit of thickness, but it's more the strength I'm going for here. But also it makes the bag larger faster. So rather than having to start with like, I don't know, 40, 45 foundation chains because you're only using a single strand and a smaller hook, it allows you to start with fewer foundation chains, work fewer rows, and you're done quicker. So it's that's kind of a nice reason for using 2 strands of yarn in a project like this as well. Plus, it also kind of creates a pretty color work situation. And if you're using up scrap yarn like I am, and you're sick of looking at it in your stash, it's a nice way to use it up quickly.
Got a new poll idea from Melissa.
Great. Mr. InStitches is getting a new poll up and running. That's an idea from Melissa. Thank you. Oh, Janet says she uses Tunisian simple stitch for the straps. That's a good one. That's a nice tight stitch. Plus, it's nice to work in some Tunisian crochet whenever you can. I'm almost done this row, and I'm almost done this ball of yarn. I wonder if it'll work out like perfectly. That's fun when that happens. Did I miss? Can I use some alpaca yarn mixed with acrylic or polyester for this bag? Asks Robin. Yes, I would say so. Alpaca yarn is pretty nice stuff. So if you want to make this bag, but you want to use it more like a purse and less like a heavy duty market bag, that might be a nicer use for your alpaca yarn. Just because alpaca is so beautiful and kind of on the expensive side. I mean, it isn't always, but it is like it's awfully nice yarn. So you wouldn't want to, work it into a project that might get kind of heavy use and get used up, like start to look a little used faster than maybe it would if you just used it as a pretty purse. I'm running out of my yarn. I am mixing in the red now, so I'm going to switch up. This comes from the middle. So I'm just to the original question about tying in the yarn, this is how I'm doing it. So I'm taking my 2 strands. My white's running out, so I'm going to replace it with red. I hold the 2 strands parallel to each other, make a simple knot. Make sure that tinsel gets caught up in it. And then I just tie, like I pull as tightly as I can. That way the knot is very, very small. And because I'm double stranding it, it pretty much just disappears anyway. And then I will crochet over top of those short tails and it will totally disappear. Grows gain, ribbon strengthens straps nicely. Also, says Judy. Okay, that's a good one to know. Yeah, anything you want to add to the straps just to make them a little stronger is a good idea. Like I said, I like to line mine with fabric, but I also have a ton of fabric. So that's not such a difficult thing for me to do. 1, 2, 3. All right, I think I'll just leave that to the back and I will weave in the tails later. That's my second set of knot tails. What is this? Do I have a knot here already? Oh, look at you. I refuse to have knots in my yarn. Absolutely not. Ha ha ha. There we go. 2 more stitches and I am done row 20. And that is all the shell stitch for this project. Da, 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 da. Okay, join with a slip stitch to the top of the chain 3. I've already started in with the red. Oh, I like that. That's cool. So my bottom is done. That's all the solid half double crochet. I've got my 10 rows of shell stitch. Like I said earlier, if you wanted it to be a little taller, you can add a couple more rows of shell stitch. If you wanted it to be shorter, you could add fewer rows. If you were making the small version of this, I think we mentioned that on the first live crochet along. So if you started with, say, 21 or 18 foundation stitches, as opposed to the 24 that I started with, you might want to use fewer rows of the shell stitch just so that it doesn't look kind of ridiculously long. But you can decide that based on your own needs and also your own aesthetic. But 10 rows of the shell stitch in alignment is enough for me. And then the next crochet along, I will finish the bag. So I've got 2 rows of half double crochet to do up top. That finishes the bag, and then we're on to the straps. So possibly 1 more hour and my new market bag will be complete. Mr. Stitches, how's that poll going?
I'm going to wrap it up and then we can wrap it up. Here it comes.
Yeah, Diane, it's perfectly fine. You can make it more rows or not. It doesn't matter. It doesn't affect the outcome of the pattern. Oh my goodness. Tracy, thank you. Okay, what is your favorite kind of crochet project? Blankets, home decor, or kitchen? 72%. Clothing, 12. toys and amigurumi 10, and bags 4%. Wow, okay. Yeah, I mean, your favorite. I know we probably all like to do a lot of those things. You need someone on the side to untangle your yard. That would be nice, Connie. Is there a better way to store hooks? You know what, Dawn? That's a great question. I think we will lead with that tomorrow. Hook storage question. I've got some ideas for hook storage. Maybe we'll discuss that while I do some crochet tomorrow. That sounds like a good idea. All right, my dear friends and family, that is it for today. I'm finished row 20. I will catch up tomorrow around the same time. I will finish the bag. Like we said, if you want to sort of jump ahead on the project or even sort of see it from the beginning, we'll make sure that the video tutorial for this bag is linked below. This was part 3 of the live crochet along. I think we've probably got at least one more in us to finish the bag, and we will get back to it tomorrow, which is Thursday. My gosh, this week is flying by quickly. Anyway, have an absolutely wonderful rest of your day. Take care, stay safe and crafty. Mr. InStitches, do you have anything to add?
Just bye-bye.
Just bye-bye from Mr. InStitches in the well. Okay, everybody, take care, and we will see you tomorrow. Bye.